The mirror principle, why and how manifestation works. Your reality is not what's out there. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. Manifestation is magic, it's neuroscience, emotion and energy. And in this video, you will finally understand how your reality is being created from the inside out and how to change it. So, why and how manifestation works? Let's just take a look at this one. Maybe you know the mirror principle. I spoke about it yesterday with an example that if you are looking with a neutral face in the mirror and expect the mirror to smile back to you, you'll probably understand that it's not going to happen. So why is it that so many people don't understand that everything out there is just a reflection on the inside? We're going to speak about data today. I'm going to tell you why also. So, conscious mind, this is just a drawing. We're going to go through some bullets and some facts that I've put together here to share with you, and I look forward to this. And also, first of all, my name is Michael, and I'm doing this manifestation channel because I just want to share what I learn about reality, about how to step into your dream life, my dream life, and also do it as easy as possible. So, conscious minds, our thoughts, perceptions, etc. We're going to dive into it. It's like all these affirmations, thinking that you are successful, saying that you are successful. But we got the subconscious mind also. Again, we're going to dive into those in a moment. Beliefs, emotions. So if you, in your beliefs, emotion, believe you are unworthy, it doesn't matter what you try to force through with that small one up here. I'm going to share the data on this in a moment. Then we also got the RAS, our filter. And this RAS, this is neuroscience. It filters out information that is not aligned with what's in your subconscious mind. And then we got reality, a reflection of your inner state, your inner world. The mirror shows who you are. That's how simple it is. But we're going to dive into it now. So, the mirror principle, why and how manifestation works, and your reality is not what's out there. This is part of our manifestation masterclass. It's totally free. You can join us. It's school.com/manifestation line free. There's also a link below this video. And it's free. How manifestation works. Your reality is not what's out there. It's a mirror reflecting your inner state. Science tells us this today. Now, the reason why I'm doing this training is that I've been diving into Neville Goddard's, the spiritual teacher's work, and I got all of his books in one book. I'm really looking through all of this. I'm doing the exercises. I've shared some of my learnings and also some of the meditations from Neville Goddard. And yesterday I was like, I like the stories. Stories are good for all people because when we hear a story, it's kind of like easier for our subconscious mind to let it through. So Neville Goddard speaks about the Bible and takes a lot of stories from the Bible and says this is a psychological unfolding. It's how our psychology works through these stories. And Neville Goddard takes the story and actually again and again and again speak about your consciousness. So I read Neville Goddard, I worked with Neville Goddard, I did the stuff with Neville Goddard, and also in our manifestation masterclass, I took a lot of data things. I took a lot of science from what we know today when I built that. And yesterday it hit me, because maybe you know this, but our brain, science still says this, so we got one part which is more like the logical part, and we got one part which is more like the not logical but the creative part. And I was like, for me, I'm very much open to all this magical stuff. I'm very much open to Neville Goddard stuff, and I like it. I enjoy it, and I believe in it. That's why I'm sharing it, and that's why I'm helping people with this. On the other end, my mind also do like data. My mind do like to understand why is it that it is like that. That's why I was like, okay, let's dive into this again. That's where I am right now. And my first idea was I'm going to create a very simple 5 or 7 minute video. It's going to be called the horror mirror, because all our fears will be reflected too. And I know that I had a fear of losing all my properties. I lost them. I had a fear of ending up in debt. I ended up in $1.5 million debt. I was together with my dream woman, the woman I created exactly. This is what I want, and she showed up in my life. There was just one thing. I had a fear of losing her. I had a fear of being cheated on, and those things showed up in my life. It turned out she had a husband. Even though we were together for between 5 and 6 years, she had a husband. It was the worst disaster of my life from the perspective of all the pain and all the things that I lost in my life during that period of my time. But I also, I'm taking a little sidetrack here, but that experience, I do believe today it was an experience that helped me transform a lot of trapped energy, trauma energy, because I didn't know how to release all of that deep down trapped emotions, trapped energy. I didn't. I traveled the world. I paid $250,000 to be with mentors and coaches and learn about business. And I grew a business to 60 people, and I sold it, and I got free of my debt and all of that. But I still had some fears deep down. None of my mentors could help me find those fears. They were deep down in my system. So this experience with this woman, little sidetrack here, but there's a point to it. This experience with this woman was finally helping me to let those emotions come up. All this fear showing up. And I tell you, it was so tough a period of my life, because things were coming up that I really didn't know how to handle. So much fear, so much sadness, so much crying, so many years without crying, and it all came up. And the thing is, it transformed those energies. Coming back to the mirror, and I'm going into the data in a moment, coming back to the mirror, I wanted to be wealthy, but I had fears. I wanted to be in a very loving relationship, but I had fears deep inside, and I didn't know how to see or release those fears. So deep down inside, but I also had, maybe you know what I'm speaking about, I also had a desire to be free and happy. So the mirror gave me this woman and helped me to transform all of those limited, first of all of those trapped emotions and energy, but also into the limiting beliefs. I'm going to speak about that in a moment. So that was why I actually wanted to do the horror mirror, but I chose to look into all of this, take my notes, and then do a longer video about these things. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed preparing it, and also I want to serve it to you now. So let's break it down simply. This is for anyone. Most people that I've been working with as a coach, as a mentor since 2012. I've been a leader all my life before that, so I've had thousands of people through my life. Most people I worked with as a coach and a mentor has been people who had desires, people who dared to dream, people who felt something is calling for me. When I talked with them first time, they said that's how they felt. It's been entrepreneurs, it's been heart-driven and impact-driven leaders. People who want more, people who believe there's something calling for them. And because probably that's how I've been all of my life. I feel there is something even better for me. And on that journey to something even better for me and for the people I've helped with this, we have to let go of all of the old stuff. I draw on my recovery from this woman. I got inspired to draw a dog. I don't know where this drawing is. A dog, and the dog has a bone in its mouth. Maybe you've seen this. I saw this picture once many years ago, and it came up. The dog had a bone in its mouth. Now the dog sees a bigger bone, and the dog wants the bigger bone. But for the dog to get that bigger bone, it has to let go of the bone in its mouth. It's a symbol of we have to let go of the old version of ourselves to step into the desire of that version who lives that life that we want to live. So let me come to the points here. The conscious mind, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to stick with the bullets here. Conscious mind, around 5%. Around 5%. There's a little, someone says a little bit more, a little bit less, but around 5%. So of our mind, this is your thinking, logical, goal-setting self. You use it to plan, analyze, and dream, but it has very little power on its own. And a couple of things here. So when a person sets a goal, it's with 5% of the mind. Remember this. When a person tries to figure things out, it's with 5% of the mind. And that's why it has a very little power on its own, those 5%. There's a reason for this. This is how human beings are created. There is a reason for this. So, an example here. You know you should eat healthy, but you don't always do it. So it would be so easy, right? I want to drink 3.5 liters of water. I want to eat vegetables for each of my meals. So I'll just create a logic plan. I want to lose, I don't want, but it's just an example. I want to lose 5 kilos. Okay, here's the plan. I'm going to drink water. I'm going to exercise in the gym. I'm going to eat more salad. I'm going to skip the French fries, etc., etc., etc. That's the plan. It's very simple. It takes 2 minutes, right? But how come so few people manifest that desire? This is the thing, because the conscious mind who just figured all of these things out is only 5%. This is eating healthy. It could also be money. Like, I want to be wealthy. I'm looking in the mirror. I tell the mirror, I want to be wealthy with 5% of my mind. It's little power. So we go further on to the subconscious mind, 95%. This is where your beliefs, emotions, habits live. It runs your life on autopilot. It's not logical, it's emotional and repetitive. I used to do, when I did seminars, I can take an apple here. I used to do take 2 apples or balls, small balls, and you can juggle with them, right? Now, the thing is, when people have done this, they trained themselves to juggle so they can do it. And if they train themselves to juggle with 3 balls, they can do it. People who didn't train themselves to juggle with 3 balls will probably not be able to do it. Most people will not. So the subconscious mind, same thing with bicycling. We learn to bicycle, we train it, and suddenly it's in the system and we can do it. Like people say, for the rest of your life you can bike. Like mathematics, you train it, and it's just there. It's a habit. So if I say what's 2 times 2, you say 4, right? What's 2 times 3? And you answer me without thinking about it. Because if you have to think about it, we'll go up into the conscious mind. So all of this is on autopilot. Some of this is habits. Habits is like things we learned ourselves, we trained ourselves, even the things that we don't like. Maybe a person maybe a person got a goal, want to eat healthy, but still eats not healthy because it's a habit. And below that habit, we got beliefs, we got all of these things with emotions too. So Neville Goddard here, let's see. Now we're going to take this one first. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll unknowingly sabotage opportunities. This is a good thing when you think about the mirror principle. So if a person in the 5% say, I am wealthy, so much money is coming to me, but inside that person has a belief, I'm not good enough. And maybe even on a more core belief level, deeper inside from some of the first beliefs that were created in us, that you don't belong here. And I've been through this. I know how this feels when we get to it. So if we got these beliefs installed in a very young age, like the tree, the roots of the tree, the roots of my cactus over here is cactus roots, it's not orange roots. So it's going to be a cactus that's showing up in reality. And no matter how much I'm going to put the cactus in front of the mirror and say, you are an orange tree, you are an orange tree, you are an orange tree, guess what? It's still going to be a cactus, right? And that's why it's so important to understand that most of what's going on in our lives is subconscious stuff. Now here comes the thing, let's just see. Yes, here comes the thing. Neville Goddard speaks about this too. And this was some of it that hit me yesterday, because he speaks about, in some of his later books, he speaks about the conscious and the subconscious mind. And what he writes is that for you to inject the new beliefs into your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind actually to grasp it, to believe it, to take it in, it has to come with feelings. So before going into the Neville Goddard I am state, you have to know, that's this one up here, what is it that you want to plant? What's the seed that you want to plant in your ground, in your consciousness, in your subconsciousness? So you have to know what it is. Now you get into the I am state, which is the flow state, which is like a meditative state, which is where you can absorb easier new concepts and ideas. And Neville Goddard's work is very much about feeling. You probably heard that before. Feeling like this is already there. Now, the thing Neville Goddard also wrote that I read yesterday is that if you want to, like the subconscious mind, your consciousness, doesn't matter if it's a good feeling or a bad feeling. And this is exactly why the mirror principle manifests things for people, because they're afraid of losing money. There's a fear there, and connected with I'm afraid of losing money. So the mirror shows that. So if you want great experience around money, I'll take the work here, the data here, and also connect it with Neville Goddard's teachings. Well, you have to get into that state where you are in a meditative state. So it's easier to absorb the thing in your subconscious, in your consciousness. And then, about the wealthy thing, you have to feel really good. Neville Goddard speaks about this, writes about this in different ways, but really feeling it like it's tickling in all of your body. You have to maybe imagine it, but feel it. Like, I am really wealthy and this feels so good. So freaking good. Because when this happens, this is where the seed is injected into the ground, and it's like the process starts now. From there, Neville Goddard's teaching, you will begin to experience that your mirror will reflect what being wealthy means. But still, on the road to that, on your journey to being wealthy, all things will show up. And they will trigger some of the old beliefs or emotions. And Neville Goddard speaks about this also. Turn your back against those things. In Manifestation Masterclass, through my own journey, I am speaking about releasing those emotions, because if we are at a level where we begin to be connected with those trapped emotions. We got stress, we got anxiety, we got fear, we got sadness. When those things shows up, I was a world-class master at suppressing them, keeping them in. I didn't cry for so many years. And I realized that when these things shows up, instead of putting the lid on and putting them in a box and not showing them, take the lid off and let that energy transform. I'm not saying this is easy or nice or anything, but when we do this, when this happens, we will transform. So it's going to be higher levels of energies. And we will experience the mirror reflecting that back. So, let's move on here. Now, here comes a thing. I haven't seen yet Neville Goddard speak about this, but not directly, and I don't think that the RAS was, science found the RAS when Neville Goddard spoke about or wrote his books. But we got the RAS, the reticular activating system, and this is where I can really say there's no woo-woo. There's no woo-woo-woo-woo-woo-woo in what I'm sharing here and what science knows. This is your brain's filter. It decides what you notice and what gets deleted. Read that again. This is so powerful. So you got reality out there. There's so much data out there, and our brain cannot take in all the data. So our brain has to filter. We got the senses: eyes, ears, taste, touch. We got the senses. So the senses helps us to get it into your brain. But we cannot get everything in there. So you know probably that our eyes as human beings cannot see as much as a cat's eyes or some bird's eyes. Same thing with the hearing. Many animals hear much more than a human do. So, but our brain will actually just crash if we got all the data in. So the RAS system helps you decide what it takes in. And guess what? Your subconscious programs it through your beliefs and focus. So this is where, again, now this is a positive example. Let's say you know this probably, yellow, red, blue, whatever. You buy a red car and suddenly you see red cars everywhere. This is, I think we got it here. Not because there are more of them, but because your filter changed. So your filter changed now. And let's think about some of the things that I said before. So if a person believes the person don't deserve to be healthy, now with the 5%, the person says, okay, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to train more, I'm going to drink more water, but the 95% plus the RAS filter, those two things are connected. The RAS filter will keep noticing in the mirror that you're not healthy. that person is not healthy. So the RAS filter will look in the mirror and say, whoa, I got too much fat here, or destroy that healthy habit of eating, and probably there will be some good explanation to the person why it's okay not to eat healthy. But the fact is that the RAS will filter out all of those good things and just focus on the things why the person is not healthy. So same thing with money. A person wants to be wealthy, but the program is that I don't deserve wealth, or rich people are bad people, or money is the root of all evil, or some of all of these things. And when a person walks around, say, I want to be wealthy, but their beliefs connected with the RAS, so the RAS will keep experiencing those things that will keep triggering those emotions of lack. So it's a loop. The mirror constantly, it's just a loop being created. The mirror constantly reflects those things. Not because there are more of them, but because your filter changed. That was the thing with the red car. So this, coming back to Neville Goddard, when Neville Goddard says the same, when your consciousness is injected with the new idea, with your desire, this is where Neville Goddard didn't know about these things, I believe, but this is where you don't know about the RAS system. This is where you will see and experience that your world changes, your reality changes, the mirror changes because you changed. So if you're doing the Neville Goddard meditations, this was an example with the red car, and you begin to inject desires of being wealthy, and your consciousness takes it in. And Neville Goddard has many examples of this, but let's say like in the womb, and the woman is getting pregnant with the idea, the desire. This is exactly how Neville Goddard speaks about this. So when you, whatever it is that you desire, when you inject it into your consciousness, and your consciousness take it in, like with the woman and what's going on in the womb, the desire will begin to manifest itself. And let's go back to this, because the RAS system will begin to see those things. Then we got emotions. Emotions drive everything. You probably heard this once before. I have heard it so many times. And emotions are energy in motion. So emotions, they create a chemical state in your body and influence your actions. You attract and act from your emotional baseline, not your wishes. And I can give you a couple of examples here, powerful ones, and you can test this by just go out and doing this. So when I did seminars for entrepreneurs, I had them all in a room, experienced entrepreneurs. Maybe they did businesses for 5, 10, 20 years. And they had teams around them, some of them $1 million businesses. And then they wanted to grow their business. In the room, I said, okay, we went through a sales pitch. They created, take up your phone, call 10 people. Guess what happened? 99% of the room wanted to leave for the bathroom. Because emotions of fear rose inside of them. So they didn't do what they needed to do in that moment, but they followed their emotions. I can give you another example, and that would be to, if whether you're a man or woman, go down on the street, find someone who you, of the, whatever you are into, but maybe of the opposite sex, and then just approach them and just tell them how beautiful they are. Try to do this and see what goes on. For 99% of people more, they don't do this because their emotions of fear, of anxiety, things like that will stop them from doing it. So we can break through that, I speak about that in the Manifestation Masterclass. I have lots of exercises with this where I speak about the wall. It's like breaking through the wall. Or we can release those emotions. So it's going to be easier, because if we are too controlled by those emotions, and especially when we speak about the not serving emotions, our actions will be controlled by those emotions. And also when we speak about it in the mirror principle, like I wrote here, you attract and act from your emotional baseline, not your wishes. So if a person looks in the mirror and says, I will be wealthy, I am wealthy, 5%, but inside here, I am lack, I don't deserve it, I'm not good enough. That's the 95%. It's not going to be those wishes who is winning. It's going to be on autopilot, a loop. The mirror is just reflecting back, I don't deserve it, lack, I'm not good enough. So an example, if you feel limited, you'll play small, even if you think big. And I've had so many clients I work with that when we went through these exercises and when they changed their inner being, I say magic now, but magic began to happen in their life. Magic began to happen in their life. There's just one example popping up to me now. It was a young woman who went into a speaking I did, got the room full, and she was like nearly crawling through behind or close to the walls, looking down, and she had no confidence at all. Now, this woman, she became a client of mine. She went through some of my seminars, 3 days, 4 days seminars at the time. She changed so much. You can find her story, but it's in Danish on my webpage, which is I haven't done much with. But the fact is that she released a lot of those I'm not good enough. She had so much pain in her stomach, she released that. She has been on medication for so many years, she released that. By releasing all of that, by getting the confidence, she attracted a job with a much higher salary, which was a goal for her. But she played small before because of all of those limiting emotions and beliefs. Releasing those, taking some action, aligned with her desires, and she landed in a very, very small time. She landed her dream job, a higher paying job. She got into the body that she thought for so many years she couldn't have. She released the old version of herself, and her mirror began to reflect those new desires. And it kept showing up in her life. And she actually also attracted her dream boyfriend, and from what I know, they got maybe 2 now, but they got child together, and I also think they got married. So I think she even wrote, it was like a swan from, that little, I don't know what it's called, but the little bird, that's a swan. It's not looking very, very nice in the beginning, and she felt herself becoming a swan. So, back to this. Identity shapes reality. Your deepest identity creates your external results. I spoke about this as the deepest fear. From my own example, me fearing that I lost everything, me fearing that I lost the woman, which was the woman of my dreams. It wasn't because she was cheating on me, and her husband. But I had those fears inside of that. And below that, there were even deeper fears. The fact is just that those fears will be reflected in your reality. That's the mirror principle. Life doesn't reflect your dreams. It reflects who you believe you are. Deep down. We're talking deep down here. We got to go deep. It's not just like sitting and saying, this is me, blah, blah, blah. I am Michael, I'm 52 years old. I train 3 times a week. I have been a leader all of my life. That's not the things. It's deeper inside of you. Those things that you kept inside of you for so many years. Someone who sees themselves as broke will reject wealth even when it knocks. I've had those examples too. I've had so many clients that I've helped with this. I got an example popping up to me now. His name was Tim. I worked with him first in an 8-week program and then in a longer. I think we worked together for maybe a year or something. Now, Tim was struggling as an entrepreneur. He wasn't proud of his team. He was working very, 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 very much, and he didn't earn a lot of money, and he was actually not feeling very good. And he had something about wealth inside of him that was limiting. We worked together, we did the strategic things, but also we released a lot of limiting things. We transformed a lot of energy. What happened for Tim was, and this is the point for this one, what happened for Tim was that he felt much better. And he even said that, I think on one of my YouTube channels, I have the interviews, I think we did 3 with him. And he said, I just feel so good, Michael. It feels so good when we have had our session. And think about it, before session, being in a very low state, being very stressed, not feeling anything is working out, and also feeling behind and feeling lack. Turning the back on those things and just begin to release and transform those energy into feeling really good. And suddenly his mirror, the mirror principle, his mirror manifested. He manifested a new team. And he was so proud of them. So proud that actually as he got new jobs, he landed big time jobs. And he told me that people on those big buildings where they were working came and said, Tim, your team is just like everybody's noticing your team. The energy is so great. Normally, and he told me this, people are not very high spirit when they just do their work in big properties and building those things. And it kept working out. He landed one job after another. Before we spoke together, he didn't really get new jobs, and because he was rejecting the wealth. He became proud of his team. He delivered some great results on some of his jobs. Now he wasn't rejecting wealth anymore. He had lots of opportunities before, but now he started calling his network, people he knew. He said, you know what, I am building my business and it's going good. Do you need my services? And each time that I had a session with him, he told me he landed more jobs. He said, Michael, why didn't I do this before? Everybody wants what I'm doing here. And it was so much money for his company and for him. And he felt so good about it. So this is an example of before seeing himself as broke, as desperate, and I know that because I've been there too. And then turning his back on those things and stepping into his desires. An opportunity just kept knocking at his door, and the mirror reflected it to him. Cool story, huh? So, the mirror principle, why and how manifestation works. I just did this one. Conscious mind, 5%. Thinking, logical, goal-setting self. Use it to plan, analyze, and dream. Very little power on its own. You know you should eat healthy, but you don't always do it. Subconscious mind, 95%. This is where your beliefs, emotions, and habits live. It runs your life on autopilot. It's not logical, it's emotional and repetitive. If you believe you're not good enough, good enough, you'll knowingly sabotage opportunities. And number 3, your RAS, reticular activating system. This is your brain's filter. It decides what you notice and what gets deleted. Your subconscious programs it through your beliefs and focus. Example, buy a red car and suddenly you see red cars everywhere. Not because there are more of them, but because your filter changed. And emotions drive everything. Emotions are energy in motion. They create a chemical state in your body and influence your actions. Example, if you feel limited, you'll play small, even if you think big. So I actually do this, that in the Manifestation Masterclass, I'm going to post these, with the spelling errors here, but I'm going to post these images so they're just to download as a reminder if you want that. So here comes the thing. Let's take all of this together. The reality creation loop. Identity plus beliefs, subconscious, programs your focus, the RAS. Generates your emotions and reactions. Drives your actions. Creates your results. Just watch it again if you want. It's powerful stuff. Confirms your old beliefs. Person not being healthy. Want to drink more water, want to eat more salad, want to go to the gym. But everything that I just mentioned to here will happen. And from that, drives your actions, creates your results. It's going to be the same results for that person. That's the loop. And it confirms the old beliefs. I am not healthy. And remember, this is maybe not showing up in the person like I am not healthy. It can come like thoughts or speakings. We have to be this is the thing, be very aware of what's going on inside ourselves to begin to understand these things. Reality creation loop. I'll make sure this is also in the Manifestation Masterclass. Identity plus belief, subconscious, focus, emotions and reactions, results, and again emotions and reactions, back into identity and beliefs. It's a loop. That's why, people talk about the hamster wheel. It's why this movie, I never recall this, Groundhog Day. This movie, the guy wakes up every day, it's just the same thing. No matter what he does, this is the thing. And the mirror keeps reflecting this until you change what's going on inside. How to change your reality? I said it before, awareness. So build awareness of unconscious patterns. And this is really about being conscious. Build awareness of what's going on inside. And then upgrade your identity plus beliefs. And if we speak about Neville Goddard again, it's not that like strategic or logical, because he's speaking more like in stories and more about consciousness and injecting the desire into the consciousness. But it's actually the same thing, just with other words. Build awareness of unconscious patterns, of all that's going on inside that is not what you want. From that, there will be a desire. And to step into that desire, to live that dream life of yours, upgrading identity plus beliefs, shred the layers of all of the old. Use visualization plus emotion plus action. Again, Neville Goddard speaks also about this, because it's visualization and emotion. Neville Goddard, from what I read so far, rereading it again and again and again, there's not that much action. It's more about it will just align. The mirror will just align. But from for me growing a YouTube channel, well, I have to do some action. It's not just going to be there. For me to deliver the message, I'm going to do these things and I'm going to share them. There's some kind of action there, right? But the visualization and the emotion, like I spoke about, also from Neville Goddard's teaching, is so powerful, because what is happening is that you are aligning your 95% with your desires. You are aligning your 99% with your desires. Let's say you're here now. You want to be here. This is your dream life. You're here now. This is the loop going on. You're just seeing the same results again and again and again and again and again in your mirror. So be aware, okay, I don't want more of this. I want to go over here. Turn your back on the things, meaning don't focus, really practice with your rest, not focusing on the things that you don't want, but focus on the things you do want, your dream life. And visualization plus emotions. Really feel that, like Neville Goddard speaks about living in the end result, really feel yourself living in this dream life until your consciousness accepts this. And that's going to be connected with your RAS, which means you're going to see the things that you desire in your mirror. And when that happens, well, that's going to be the new loop until you desire new things. Repeat until your subconscious accepts it. Watch your outer world shift. This is the mirror, right? Your mirror is the outer world. Watch your outer world shift. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And that was actually the end of this. It's a part of the Manifestation Masterclass. It's free, and here's the link. There's also a link below this video. So I hope you enjoyed this. It became not a 10-minute video. I see it's like 45 minutes now. It's going to be in the Manifestation Masterclass and also the images there. You are more than welcome to come and join us. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it makes sense for you. I thought about drawing it also, but I put everything down, and like I said, really to help that part of my brain, the logical part, to understand this. And I look forward to see you in a new video. And please, if you like this just a little bit, would you give it a like? Give it your thumbs up. And you're more than welcome to join us on this channel. It's new, and I'm just sharing and growing and learning and having fun with you. So that's it for now. Lots of love.